Hello, my friend, and welcome. This is the Back to Me podcast, and I am Heather, and I am super excited that you are here. And I just want to let you know that you're going to hear some tips and some tricks, some ideas, all to help you live your happiest and healthiest life. It is called Back to Me because when you are taking care of yourself, then you can take better care of others. And my goal is to make the world a better place. This is Wellness Your Way. I am really happy that you're here. Your true self is waiting. So it is time to step up and thrive. Hello, my friend. Welcome to another fabulous episode of the Back to Me podcast. And we love to talk about how to make things better in life. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm talking to Ayo Haynes, and I have mentor and success coach, and you are the founder of She's Extraordinary, which I didn't ask you what that was yet, but I was saving it. Welcome. Welcome to the
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I know it was like when because I pre-record and the calendar can get full, I know sometimes it's a wait to come and have a chat, but it's always worth it. At least it is for me.
Obviously, you're very sought after, which is a
I'm
great thing.
crazy. Um, the guests know that the first thing I'm always super curious about was what led you down this road to be a mentor, a success coach, because I had a little inkling from your email address that this isn't where you started.
Yeah. No, I've started so many places. I
Right.
have had a very diverse life, which I have loved. It has been defining for me. I don't think people could put me in one box. I don't put myself in one box. I went to business school and I got a BA and MBA in 5 years and went directly into acting. It was a deal that I made with my mother. And from there, I went to into acting and then into real estate into coaching, and here we are. But there's many, many years in between,
Well,
and
it's
lots
funny
of
because people
businesses.
would go, "What? That doesn't
Yeah,
even
yeah,
look that's not a trajectory, that's like a
no, at
popping all over
all.
the place."
Yeah, but
And
it's
what was the
great.
deal with your mom? Why did she wanted you to get into business, and that's how you
Oh
decided to
yeah, I mean, what mom wants their child to be an actor? And a starving one at that, which was what the world was told all actors would be.
Yeah.
I should say, everyone, my name is Ayo Haynes, and I am a success coach. And I think all of my life's journeys have informed exactly where I am today. And so my mother was a single mom who worked hard. She worked a 9 to 5. Uh, and it was a struggle. And thankfully, she had the support of her brothers and sisters, but I don't think she wanted me to have to struggle. And because I had excelled all throughout college, high school and college, I played tennis, I had a scholarship, she really envisioned what it would be for me to then go to the next level, which would be like on Wall Street somewhere. And I didn't really have a desire for that. I am someone who marches to their own drum and have no problem doing that. I'm also someone, if everyone's going left, I'm probably going to go right. So eventually she just said, okay, this is our deal. Finish the degree, and then you can go into acting. And 1 week before I graduated with my MBA, I got this great acting gig for a children's show in New York. So it was perfect.
That is awesome. I mean, you said, "Sure, no problem," and then I'll go do what I wanna do, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's interesting, like, if people could know that what they wanted to do. I mean, I went the corporate way and did it for 15 years before I went, "Yeah, I don't like this. I don't wanna
Yeah.
do this," right? And it's hard to flip. It's hard to flip sometimes, right?
I also knew that I wanted to do my MBA at the same time as my BA because I have a gift of projecting forward and knowing what I would like or would not like. And I just could see myself getting very comfortable not being in school. So I decided, you know what, let's just do it all together.
Right.
And the same thing with corporate. And I mean, I've had corporate jobs, but I've also relished the fact that I could do that next thing that really lit me up and excited me. For me, at that time, after college and getting my graduate degree, it was acting, and I fell in love with it. I did voiceovers.
Wow.
I did all sorts of things. I was an entrepreneur, and I tackled it as if it was a business. And in fact, I was very instrumental at my college, which was a business school, Bentley University, and outside of Boston. I was looked at upon as the crazy person for going to business school, even though I wanted this career in entertainment. And I had to explain to people, I'm like, well, what do you think entertainment is? It's a business. In fact, it's one of the largest businesses in the world. And slowly over time, they started adding business courses in the realm of entertainment. So there's a little bit of a pioneer in me. Like I said, I kind of go my own way. To look at me, you would probably think that I'm very quiet, but I'm also very headstrong, which could also be a problem, right?
You know,
Yeah, and I could be stubborn sometimes, but it's in a way that I knew myself,
right.
right? And we really have to know ourselves. And there was a large degree for me that I didn't care what other people thought for many parts of my life. There were other areas where I like, okay, I have to keep up appearances, but others I was like, I don't really care. I want to go jump off a mountain or a bungee jump or swim with dolphins and do race car driving, around the Indianapolis 500 track, those type of things. And I happened 5 years after graduating from college and from university, um, stumbled into this job with FX Networks when FX Networks was just launching and the
Oh my
whole
gosh.
cable industry was launching. And I was hired to be a road warrior. So I got to travel all around the country interviewing people about their collectibles and their collections, and it was the best job ever,
Right. I
especially for
remember when
someone.
that network launched. That's
Yes, it was
hilarious.
all live, completely live, and it was amazing. I was 26 at the time, and just so much fun, and fit right into my personality of having a wanderlust and
Right.
traveling around the world.
And now you've like come to this kind of like you've done this whole adventure thing and now you're like, now it's time for
Well, real estate. It was time for real estate.
whoa,
That
because that
and
makes sense.
I, well, again, I was a business person. I always loved business, so I could always find a business angle in something. Um, but another crazy story. I was acting and happened to be on the set of a commercial and became friendly with someone who was very successful in real estate. We became friends over the weekend shoot, and he invited me to become his assistant. And I was like, no, I'm not interested. I'm still acting. And I had this incredible opportunity to um, audition and screen test for a role on One Life to Live. I'm dating myself now for sure. Um, and so I wasn't interested, but it was such a life changing moment. I had put all of this energy into it. I was so excited. They give you your contract for the next 3 years, so you know what you're going to make, even though you don't have the job. And as luck would have it, I was the very last woman to be auditioned on a Friday night of a long week. And the staff was tired, the crew
Yeah.
was tired, the actor was tired, and I literally got one take, and it was so disappointing and so soul crushing. I literally walked out of there saying, I will never let someone tell me that it's my turn. I
Oh wow, yeah.
deserve I deserve to have the life that I want, and I'm not going to wait for someone to give it to me. I'm going to create it. And from there, I put myself into real estate school, called him up and said, "Okay, I'm ready." He says, "Okay, great. Go to real estate school." Already did it. You did that? Yes. I'm ready. And so it was great because he went from, a growing realtor to number within the top 5 of the organization with me helping and assisting. And I learned so much during that time. And then finally, it was time for me to go on my own. And here we are, 19
Ah,
years later, the
right.
longest job I've ever had outside of real estate. I mean, I should say
That's awesome.
outside of acting, the
Outside of
longest job I've
acting.
ever had
And it
outside of
is
acting.
true, like, you never wanna be the last person on a and you don't get to choose those. So,
Yeah.
I love the way you phrased it as, I decided, no one was gonna tell me when it was my turn. Hell yes.
Yeah,
I hear
absolutely.
hallelujah, right? But so many people will just accept what's offered to them or accept that it's okay, and I think, "But you don't have to." Like,
Mhm.
whoever told you that you had to accept something and that you had no say in it? And so
Absolutely.
when you're coaching people, do you find that a lot that people are just not used to being able to like owning the fact that they're in charge?
I say often, when people or someone will tell me about a decision that they make and they say, "What do you think?" And I'll give my opinion. And I'll say, "But by the way, just because I agree with you doesn't mean that it's the right or wrong decision. You don't need my validation. Now, if you're way off, I'm going to tell you and I'm going to coach you through it. But understand that you have to know within yourself what it sounds like when everything is right, when you're aligned, when it makes sense to you, when it rests in your soul so easily and you go, okay, there's no chaos, there's no conflict, then okay, I'm going this way. So
Yeah.
yeah, I say that all the time. You don't need my validation, but good for you.
And a lot of people are trying to find that validation on the outside instead of the inside.
Yes.
And we aren't really conditioned to like some people that I've coached don't even know what the inside validation feels like
Yeah.
because they've never had to do it. So it's almost like, well, refinding that that voice of that voice of knowing inside of you that just has that. Yeah, this is right. Even if other people think I'm crazy, right?
Absolutely. And if I'm a Christian, I believe and have a great relationship with God. That's my anchor. And that's also how I make decisions, right? And I think a lot of people, if you are spiritual, you need to know what the voice of God sounds like, what
Mhm.
the supreme being sounds like in your life. And so that there's not this vacuum of if somebody else says something, I'm knocked off of my pedestal or off of my rock, and then you're blown to and fro, right? You have to have a sure footing of this is who Heather is, this is who Io is. Now, in doing that, we also need to recognize our shortcomings or our weaknesses, the
Yes.
areas of ourselves that need to be improved or
We got those.
right. Everybody has them. Even as coaches, we still have them, right? And
That's
I
why I
think
have
for
my own coach.
right, coaches need coaches, psychologists need psychologists.
Exactly.
It's so important to recognize, and you said it, the programming, the conditioning, because it is so throughout our lives from the very beginning that we forget, we don't even know it's happening. Do you know?
Yes.
Um, I tell the story of my daughter who, with this whole Santa Claus thing and the tooth fairy, and I didn't know that she knew that there was no tooth fairy for the longest time. And she was gaming me and
Oh,
playing
yeah.
along, right?
Doesn't the
But
tooth
guess
fairy give $5 now?
right.
20 bucks?
And I was like, I don't keep cash. I can't even perpetuate this lie, right? But I want people to understand how innocently conditioning starts, because we start with, oh, there's a Santa Claus, there's a tooth fairy, and you're actually lying to your child and you're creating this fantasy of a person that does not exist, who's in many cases taking the place of you in their life, and you're actively lying to them about it over and over. So we are now conditioning our children to accept lies from us
Oh, yeah.
and not the truth. And we're also conditioning them to say that it's okay to lie. So if I want this deep relationship with my child, how can I begin to have it when I've already told her from the very beginning, whether it's explicitly or not, that it's okay to tell a little fib and a little lie?
And I always thought it was interesting because I knew there was no Santa Claus pretty early. That, you know, they created this person, this not real person who judged you that you better be good and follow the rules all the time.
Right.
Man, what a load of bull that is.
Right. Exactly. And then the conditioning that goes around self-medicating, right? That we see it from early on. Oh, I've had a bad day. I got to go to the bar and have a drink. That's conditioning, right?
Right.
We've been told that's the way you deal with your emotions and negative emotions instead of saying, you know what, I really need to get this off my chest. I need to have a difficult conversation with myself or with somebody else. And we don't want to do that. We've been so pacified in this society that we run away from difficult conversations that can just last a moment. It could just be a 5-minute conversation of difficulty, but we've been able to transcend and connect to the other person at a level that we can let down the facade and go,
Right.
okay, wow, I didn't realize you were thinking the same thing, or I interpreted what you said to me the wrong way. These are the type of things that we as individuals, as coaches, have to help others through and even tackle amongst ourselves.
Well, and if you've never experienced it, depending on your family and and how you grew up, it can be like you don't even know how to start it. You don't even know
Absolutely.
how to do it. It's like, of course I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just go run away and have a bottle of wine because because I don't know what to do, and this will help me relax. Which
Absolutely.
is on so many levels not the best approach, right? Let's not even just start ticking off the this is why this doesn't work list. And is this so you created this thing called She's Extraordinary. And um this I guess is the impetus of where all this came from is we need to be real and be our awesomeness.
Yeah, I think that, well, originally my coaching was wonderfully made, and it came from a biblical scripture that says that we were all fearfully and wonderfully made within our womb, our mother's womb, before we were even formed in our mother's womb. And that always just fascinated me. I'm like, wow, I was amazing before I was even created. How incredible. And then she's extraordinary. I just said, I believe that we as women, we are extraordinary. We have so much to deal with on a regular basis, but somehow we make it work, right? We
Yeah.
figure it out. And many times we figure it out without asking questions or asking help. We birth families, we create relationships and create families. We work, we take care of elderly parents. We do this, we do that. We're so many things to so many people. And that makes us extraordinary. And if I can tell somebody else how extraordinary they are, because I truly believe that, then I'm their mirror for at least a second of the day. Even if they don't believe it themselves, I can tell them, you're extraordinary. What you've lived through, what you've experienced, what you've broken through, what you've left behind, what you've created is extraordinary. And because you created it, it came from you. So you're extraordinary.
I just thought of two things. So, do you know who Marissa Peers is?
Yes.
So, I like how she had someone an actor who had no self-esteem write on all of his mirrors, "I am enough." And it's because we think for some reason that we're not, even though just the fact that we're here is exactly what is like exactly enough. And what I can't now, the other thing's gone right
Well,
out the side of my head.
well,
The other thing
on the
was.
same on the same note, like especially women, right? We're told from an early age, or I don't know how it happens, that we don't take on a compliment fully, right? We diminish it.
Yeah,
Oh, well, it's nothing. Oh, I got this on discount. I got this.
right.
I'm not that pretty. I'm not. No, take it all in, and don't diminish that compliment. Don't diminish your greatness. Don't diminish yourself. That doesn't mean be egotistical or narcissistic. It's just go. Thank you so much for recognizing that.
And I'm remembering a conversation I had with the Nope coach. From
With a what?
she's
An old
the
coach?
no, the Nope coach. She calls
Okay.
herself the Nope coach. She's from Australia, and she talked about tall poppy syndrome. And I was like, "What?" And it's like you're afraid to stick out and say, "Yes, I'm awesome," because they'll come and chop off your head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right? It's like the Nope coach. But I
yeah.
remember what it was. So I remember there was an actress, and I can't remember who it was, she was receiving an award for something, and she was making a comment about women, and she said, "You can always tell when a man wrote the script because when something goes wrong, the woman says to the man, 'Oh no, what are we gonna do now?'" And she said, "That never happens in real life." The woman just goes, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do."
Right. The
And gets on
damsel.
with it, right?
Right, right.
Just get on
The,
with it. And
the right. Who has time to be the damsel in distress? I mean, there are people who actively are that, and that's part of who they are.
that is, yes,
But, you know, for I don't know that person intimately anyway. I've had to always do for myself. My mother's had to do for herself. I would love to have a husband who takes care of me and takes and would go outside, warm up my car, put gas in it, all of that. Would love that. But until that happens, I've got to do it myself.
well, and what's interesting is I have all that. Like, full disclosure, my husband cooks and cleans, brushes the snow off the car when he knows I have to go somewhere, he checks the
Love that.
oil when I'm gonna drive somewhere, and he's an amazing human being. Yet I still know that I make my decisions for myself.
Mm.
He is all of that, and he is a knight in shining armor, but that doesn't mean I have to be the damsel in distress,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I don't think he would want me around if I was the, "Oh, no, what am I gonna do?" woman?
Well, there's that dichotomy, and it works very well in most relationships, right? Where the man is respected and the woman is cherished.
Right?
And so there's not wanting to supplant either person, but I respect you for who you are and what you bring to the relationship and the family. And I need you to cherish my decisions and how I show up in your life and make your life better.
Right? And I know you have something. I'm trying to read my notes without looking too much. See my eyeballs going?
Well, while you read, I can tell people that
Yes, tell us.
part of my success coaching, I have two areas of success coaching, right? One is success coaching for women under the She's Extraordinary banner. And it's all of these different things of achieving success in your personal life, your professional life,
Is it
your
one-on-one or group?
it's group and some
Okay,
one-on-one. Hmm.
okay,
And so I have a course that's launching. I'm really excited about it. And I've been someone, if you haven't picked it up already, that set goals from the beginning of my life. I literally have been that person, and I've seen my goals come through, from being a best-selling author to being a mother. Um, and so I have created the Smart Sisters Guide to Having It All. And then in parentheses is that it's without losing your mind, be right?
right.
Because we can't, that's the key,
That's
is
key.
not losing your mind. Because we're all already doing this, juggling,
Yeah,
right? But how do we do it and have it all at different parts of our lives in different times, not at the same time, but as it evolves in our life? And then smart, because it's very specific goals. It's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's relatable, and it's time bound. And it covers everything from finances to your personal life to your relationships, all of these different things. I'm so excited about it. And then my other part of my business, which is very niche, is for single women who are in their 40s and 50s, like I was. I was in my 45, 46 when my daughter was born, who want to become mothers, but they're single. And
right.
so they could either go the fertility route, but at 40 and 50, the odds of that happening naturally or even with help are very little.
And it's not always healthy for the mother either at that age, right?
Absolutely. And had I had honest conversations with people who would tell me the truth about going that route at 40 plus, I would never have done it. I
Right.
really wouldn't. I think the hormones contributed to my fibroids.
Mm.
And the fibroids got to a place where it required medical intervention. So I would not have gone that way had I known and had conversations with someone like me now who can
Right.
say, here's another option that is just as viable and will require less hormones coming into your body. And you know, it was the most amazing way to experience motherhood. And I love when I'm able to help other clients to achieve the happiness that I have with this long held desire to become a mother, a desire that is at an expiration date because they simply are not in a relationship that is leading to marriage in enough time for their fertility window to be met. And
Right, and
so,
it's so funny because people do wait longer now to decide to become a couple, or they have been a couple and then, "Oh, actually, that was the wrong person." But
right,
I've seen people who got married simply because they wanted to have the baby, and it was probably
absolutely.
worse than waiting for
Yeah.
later in life when you were ready. And,
Well,
I mean, I chose not to have children, but I know that, for a lot of women, it's super important for them to have
right,
children, and you shouldn't have to compromise
right.
yourself. You shouldn't have to wait till someone tells you it's your turn.
There you go.
Choo, did you see that?
Yes. And remember when I said I could project forward and see if a situation was going to be good or bad?
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to be a part of a couple, like with an old friend, an old boyfriend actually, who liked me more than I liked him at that particular time. And I met with an attorney and I explained the situation, and she said, I don't think it's going to be a good idea for you, quite honestly. If he feels it more for you than you do for him, he's going to want a relationship and XYZ is going to start to happen. And she was right. And I really took that in. I was like, yeah, not going to be good. I'm going to do this by myself. And it has not been easy. There have been, challenges here and there, but I have to say, without a shadow of a doubt, it has been overwhelmingly the best decision I can make for my life. I have a child who I look upon and I go, oh my gosh, I have poured into her and I see her flourishing because of that. And because of that relationship, it informed me going into coaching and specifically creating a coaching business that is all about inclusion. So an open adoption. I'm an adoption advocate for sure, but I'm really specifically an open adoption advocate where the birth family and the adoptive family have some kind of relationship that is beneficial and powerful for the benefit of that child's mental and emotional health throughout their life.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's interesting. This is a never something that I would have thought of been on the podcast, but my husband was adopted. But he registered to find out who his adoptive parents were, but they would have had to register as well. So he's now in his 60s and he'll never know who
Right.
his birth parents were.
Right.
And he thinks about that. I mean, I don't know that it, weighs on his mind, but he does think about it to the point where he got, the 23andMe test so he could just see what's
Right.
my background? What do I know about me? It gives you, kind of a grounding to know where you came from. Even if that's not who you
100%.
grew up with. You can grow up with whoever, but it's a grounding to know where you came from.
It is a basic need for us to know the circumstances of our birth, how we came to be, who we look like, who we favor. It doesn't mean that they're going to supplant who is their adoptive parents, but we have a unique desire as humans to know where we came from,
Right?
how we came to be. And so when I hear stories like your husband's, that's why I do the work that I do, because I don't want this next generation to have to wonder
Right.
or some even find out way into their 30s, right, on someone's deathbed or by accident. I don't want that to happen. that's very devastating to someone where this is very avoidable. If we
Yeah.
take the shame out of it, if we take the blame out of it and just say, hey, this is how my family, you and I, this is how we came to be a family. And this is the beautiful woman who entrusted me to raise you as she could not at that time.
And the circling back all the way back to the let's make sure we have those conversations even if they're hard.
Right.
Right?
Right. I know. And we always say, oh, I don't want to make her cry. I don't want to make him cry. Well, it's okay. It's a human emotion. That's what what
Right?
we have to get through these things
This
instead of being surface.
we don't live in Pleasantville.
No,
You have to have all of the feel all of the feels so that you know how to how to navigate them and how to process them and feel them, recognize them, and then release them so you don't
absolutely.
stick them somewhere inside of you and make them an illness
Right.
later.
And sometimes we have to regulate them, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes we can't get rid of them fully, but we
No.
can regulate them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting, like these bodies that we walk around in.
Hmm. Yeah,
Right? Oh my goodness.
exactly.
So we have your Smart Sister's Guide to Having It All. We have
Yes.
your what's the other one called again?
It's Open Adoption Success with Ayo Haynes. And you
Open
can go to
adoption.
openadoptionsuccess.com. And there's a blueprint that I'm finishing up that will be for those women who are looking to adopt that way. And I'm actively seeking funding for a summit for She's Extraordinary, where women from, I would say 35 to 60, I'm not quite at 60 yet, but I'm certainly approaching it, but it was that time from 35, all of these different things that I was experiencing. Am I going to be a mother? What career should I, and a sick parent, all throughout that whole time period, that I wish I just had somebody to just sit and talk with me, that I
Right.
could really, let my true emotions out and get really good advice from people who've already done it. And so I it's very close. So hopefully you'll have me on next time and I can
Ooh,
talk to you
exciting.
even more. Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Summits are awesome, and I'm only 2 years away from 60, so I hear you. The
Yeah.
35 to 60 is quite the adventure.
Isn't it?
Oh my
It
gosh.
really is. Truly. And I wish when I was younger, even when I was dealing with my mom and her illness, she ended up passing from cancer.
Mm,
You know, no one tells you in your 20s to expect that your parents will eventually go away. It never occurred to me that my mother was going to die. It really didn't.
right,
And what it means to even have a sick parent and how you navigate life that way when you're trying to live your life but you have an obligation to your parents, all of these different things. I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me this before? Because I would have
I
been
know,
better prepared.
right? It's like, come on, people. I think that's why people used to live in a closer community because you had
That's
the
true.
support, and now we're just all these little individual silos. I mean, we have community, we have friends, but it's different than all of your
Yes.
aunties around saying, "Oh my god, this," right?
Right, you're absolutely right.
So interesting. Hmm. Oh my gosh. So, where is the best place for them to find you? Is there one spot shopping, or we're gonna have all the links in the show
Yes.
notes, but
Well, you can find me for bookings and keynote speaking at iohaynes.com or bookiyohaynes.com. For open adoption, openadoptionsuccess.com. And for She's Extraordinary, you can go there. Or to for the goal setting course, it's mydreamsandgoals.com.
wow, you got all the best URLs. How did you manage that?
I couldn't even believe that My Dreams and Goals was available. I was like, what?
What?
Yes,
Ka-ching, buying it.
yes. I've
Right?
held on to that for a while and now it's being birthed. So I'm really excited about it.
That's very cool. Yeah, it's meant to be if you can find the URL.
Absolutely.
That's my belief. That's my
Absolutely.
belief. So, thank you so much, by the way, for sharing all of this because I just think it's all super fascinating. And someone in the world go can hear you and go, "Yes, I get that." And for one more heck yes mic drop, the guest gets the final words of wisdom.
Oh.
Ooh.
Excuse me. Final word of wisdom. I was actually sick in bed. And I said to myself, do I want to miss this opportunity to speak with Heather? I had been waiting for several months, and I was like, no, you're going to get up, you're going to take a shower, and you're going to show up because you're excited about this. And so many times it's mind over matter. Yes, I have a cold. I have all of these things going on, but my desire to be here, to show up, was greater than my physicality. And a lot of times that's all it takes, is that having a desire to overcome the physical. I have a desire to help people. I have a desire to help people understand how extraordinary they are and how gifted they are. And so if I can show up for everyone else, which I do a lot, sometimes you have to show up for yourself and make
Yeah.
yourself a priority. And that's what today is.
That's why we're back to me. Thank you. Thank you, Ayo. That was awesome. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Oh my goodness. So many
You
thoughts running through
too.
my head. Friends in podcast land, you know what to do. You know that you know someone who will benefit from hearing this. So share this with them because they will thank you later. Send some comments, send some subscribes, send some likes, all the love. Send us all the love, and we will catch you next time. Take
Heather, one last thing. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I forgot to
Yeah,
say that any of your viewers, I will make sure that I send you a discount code for them to register for the goal setting course. So I will make sure you have that so you can put it in the show notes. I almost
okay,
forgot to say
friends.
that.
Oh,
Yes.
thank goodness. Okay, now you really, really want to check the show notes, don't you? Okay, um, thanks for that. People love discounts.
Yes.
I love
Me too.
discounts. Oh my
It'll be
gosh.
discount Heather. We'll make it your name.
Yeah, even better. I'm writing it down just so we don't forget, friends. And next time, we'll just be already that much more extraordinary. Take care. Bye
Bye.
bye. Hello, my friend. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you found it useful and you're like me and you want to help others, please share this, comment, like, subscribe, all of those things that will help this podcast to be found by more people. And if you found it useful, there's a chance that someone else will find it useful as well. If you ever have any questions, I am here to answer your questions. I would love to help you. My direct email address is info@heatherstewart.coach. You can also find me at heatherstewart.coach. And if you go over to my website, you will find copies of the podcast. You'll find the link to my Instagram and my Facebook. And I do have a personal request because I do want to help as many people as I can with these podcasts. So if you could give me a review, and my friend, I would love if you gave me a good one. If you could share this, if you could send it out into the world, I would truly appreciate it. I hope that you have an amazing day. I hope that you are finding your way back to wellness by getting back to me. Take care, my friend. Be well, and we will see you again next time.